Hello, welcome back to my channel. Well, today we are going to dive into one more interesting aspect with respect to artificial intelligence. Like they say, if you're not riding the artificial intelligence wave today, you're definitely missing out on something really, really special. With that said, today we'll be working towards aligning, customizing large language model, and we'll see that how we can do that using Red Hat's InstructLab feature. With no further delay, let's jump on and understand few concepts around large language models, and then we'll see in the lab how exactly we can align and teach these large language models. See you in a bit. Welcome back. Let's try to understand artificial intelligence or AI as part of our everyday lives. Let's go with Netflix, right? That is something which we use every day. There are personalized recommendations which you see on your Netflix, on your YouTube, Amazon. You see a lot of stuff is being personalized. How is it happening? It's AI in action. Artificial intelligence is able to identify and analyze what you have watched previously, what you would be probably willing to watch or willing to buy. So it is able to predict what you will enjoy next or purchase next. From virtual assistants like, Apple Siri, Google Home, or, Alexa, all these assistants are able to recognize your voice. That is nothing but artificial intelligence. Artificially, it is able to identify your voice and respond back just when you ask whether, or if you want to write something, if you're dictating something, turning off lights, turning on lights. In fact, if you have been using Gmail, all the spam emails which get collected are being generated through artificial intelligence. The engine is so smart that through artificial intelligence, it's identifying and it's figuring out where exactly bad emails are there and it's putting it into spam, right? And when you try to use your, keypad, autocorrect corrects your mistakes and stuff like that. All this is from self-driving cars like Tesla or most of the electric cars which come with self-driving feature. All this is artificial intelligence. Chatbots for customer support, you having facial recognition while you're entering into a certain premise, or navigation apps, health monitoring. In most of these areas, in fact, a huge presence in fraud detection is also being done through artificial intelligence. When you see recommendations on your Instagram, Facebook, all these social media feeds are also driven by artificial intelligence. With that understanding, let's go further and see what exactly does artificial intelligence help us or define our lives with. So all we are saying is AI is nothing but a computer system which is designed to act like a human, and including learning and solving problems, and pretty much evolve with time and learn from its from the data and make right decisions. And we just went over the examples which we have gone through in understanding this. The next thing which we would want to know or understand is what is a large language model. In my understanding, if you have been using ChatGPT, you have already got your hands dirty with what large language models are. These are nothing but another form of artificial intelligence designed to understand and generate, text which is pretty much like a human format sort of a text, right? Which sounds like as if a human has told that. And it is very extremely smart in text generation. Imagine this to be like, a text generation software or model which will be sounding exactly like a human. And, it could be books, articles, websites, whatever it is, it can summarize it for you, generate textual content which you can use. Today, if you see most of the chatbots, content creation engines, translation engines, in fact, coding assistants also is being driven by LLMs. So LLMs are very crucial in the AI industry today while we speak. And the most popular LLMs are the ones which are
being used by ChatGPT, which is GPT-4. There is Llama, there is Mistral, there are many, but these are few which are pretty famous and kind of dominant in market today. Of course, they are versatile and can adapt almost to any task involving languages. The next concept I want to introduce here, once we have seen large language models, is synthetic data generation. Like the term itself tells, this is fake but realistic kind of data which is used to train the large language models or any models which you have. And you artificially generate this data and train that data on these models so that these models are smart enough to make right decisions. Where can we use this? Across in chatbots. If you want to have tailored customer experience, you can feed such data so that next time such query comes in from a customer, the chatbot is smart enough that it is already trained on that data. Could be in healthcare, where different patient scenarios are being generated to train the AI model, exposing real world medical records. You can, train the data, train the model, and it takes mature decisions. In self-driving cars, where different scenarios have to be addressed while the car is being driven, you need to generate this synthetic data to train your models and make it smart. Hoping that this concept also is kind of clear to all of you. The models we use in artificial intelligence also needs to be ethically, smart, and it has to be designed with proper alignment. In the sense, when you try to, if you remember, there was a case a couple of years before when someone asked for a certain image and Google's model gave a wrong image, which was kind of a bias towards a certain community. So these are some considerations which you need to make sure or ensure that your model behaves in a certain way. Again, that comes by training it with right data and ensuring proper models are and decisioning is considered while you're doing this. But these are some considerations which you need to remember when you are training or working with AI models. So once we start using these models, on frequent intervals, it is very important that you retrain these AI models for the adapting changes. In the sense, with newer scenarios which come in, like, if you take in healthcare, there was COVID and you had different set of samples which you had to train your AI models with data updates or optimization. Like, these are a few aspects which you need to consider while working with AI models. With this, we'll try to see what is that we'll be covering in the lab today. Well, in today's lab, we will see how we can use Red Hat's InstructLab to build these models in terms of teaching it, aligning it, and seeing a real world scenario where an example could be utilized. So these are some prerequisites, Python environment and stuff. We don't need this because the lab we are using, it comes pre-installed with that. So don't worry about it. There is a ILab CLI which we will be installing. I'll be going over all those instructions while we do that. This is just for your terminal to understand. So we will be downloading some pre-trained models. So we will be working with two models, which is Granite from IBM and Merlinite. These are the two models we will be working with, which the 7B stands for 7 billion, tokens which it can take, and we'll verify the downloads and see how we can use that in serving in a chatting application, how we can use that to chat in a claims application, and what is that it can do. So the two models we'll be using today is Granite and Merlinite. With that said, so what are we going to do? We are going to create some data directory, and we are going to prepare some Q&A files and generate some synthetic data. Like we discussed, we'll be generating some synthetic data using this, and also we'll be training and testing the updated models within the system. That is also something which we'll be seeing in the lab. Well, to understand this better, we will be dealing with a simple application. It is called as a Parasol application, which is meant for insurance claims. This is just an insurance claims platform, which we will be utilizing to understand all the features we have discussed in a better fashion. So all this application does is it's a web-based tool for insurance where agents are will be processing customers' claims effectively. But in the current platform, the chatbot they have lacks the detailed knowledge about specific insurance claims and the repair costs for any damages. So the goal here is how using synthetic data we can train this chatbot, and how chatbot becomes smart enough to take better decisions and give accurate numbers going further. So we'll see that as part of this the lab. The chatbot scenario is where a customer files for a claim and agent asks for the chatbot to check what is the price for a certain component. For example, here we have used a flux capacitor, and it asks for what is the price of that capacitor, and the chatbot's response is like, it's vague. The first response is going to be vague, and then post which we'll be training the model behind by adding additional knowledge. We develop a Q&A file, and then we'll be adding that to teach that model how to respond to such queries. So that's what we will see in action today. Very interesting lab which will help us understand how to generate synthetic data, train the model, and validate. We will also validate the results with the chatbot to see if it is giving accurate results once we have trained it. So once we test it, if you see, this is the example, this is a sample of what we'll be seeing. So before improvement, when we ask for the price, it tells, oh, I'm sorry, I don't have information on the flux capacitor, or it gives some vague response. After the improvement, it gives you the cost exactly, like, what is the amount of that particular capacitor replacement, so that the customer gets to know the right value using the help of AI. So with no further delay, let's try to jump into that. Some real world applications are like, improving customer service efficiency. Specific domain knowledge also can be improved by training the models with synthetic data. And the takeaways are like, continuous improvement, in the sense the models have to be trained continuously to have better results, data driven enhancement, making sure that real world impact is also there as part of this enhanced business operations. Let's jump on the demo now. Well, let's jump on to the lab and see what we can do. red.ht/RHELAI11. So this is a lab, and let's log into it by I'll give my business email, which is ppmforbusiness@gmail.com, and the password should be RHELAI. Perfect. So now let me access this workshop. Let us see if I'm able to go into it. I should be able to. Okay, perfect. So we are into the lab. So there are two windows. The left hand side window gives me the instructions. The right hand side is terminals, where I'll be activating these models, and the Parasol application which we are talking. This is a dummy application they have built with claims to run this exercise and understand how the models work. So there are two windows, top one and bottom one, and let's jump down to the instructions and follow what is being asked here. So all we are doing is training a model, loading a model, serving a model, and teaching a model to respond to certain queries with respect to these claims. The first thing I have to do is I have to go into a certain directory, which is InstructLab. Let me cd into that, change directory, InstructLab, and then let me activate the environment. To activate the environment, source ve environment bin activate is my command. Enter. All it does is it just enables your Python environment for running these models. Once that is done, I want to validate the internal library ilab if it is available. Yes, it is giving me the desired response. It is already pre-installed in this in this lab. Now let's initialize the lab. All I have to do is run the init command, which initializes ilab config init. So this activates initializes the lab, and we should be good to go from here. Perfect. I just have to say yes to cloning stuff from GitHub and creating a profile as well. Why? Let me say why here. The next piece is I think I need to clone that. Say enter and proceed. So we are downloading the Merlinite and Granite models, which we'll be doing next. Let me create the profile, say yes. So let's download the models. So the first model I want is Granite. Like we discussed, Granite and Merlinite are the two models we'll be working with today. I'm downloading that. These are slightly big models. You need to have good data bandwidth to download this. It's a 4 gig model. I think the Merlinite also is a similar model, which is around 4.5 gig, I guess. Let us check. So Granite is done. Let us download Merlinite as well. Download successful or completed. Perfect. Yes. So let us download the Merlinite model because these are the two models we are dealing with today, and we want to work on this. And if you see, the model names have 7B in that, which means it takes 7 billion tokens. This is also around 4.37 gigs. We're downloading it. Once that is done, you will see a download complete. Yeah, I think this is also got downloaded. Perfect. Merlinite. Now let's serve this model. In the sense, it will start running and catering to requests. So I want to serve this model. ilab serve is the command for that. ilab serve, ilab model serve is what I'm trying to do, and this will serve the model, whatever model we have supplied here. Let me now see if we can chat with this model. Now that it is serving and it is ready, let us see if we can chat with this model in the window in the bottom. Yes, startup is complete. So it looks like everything looks good with this model. Let's try to chat with this model. To chat, all I have to do is I need to again activate the environment in the bottom terminal. Let me activate the environment like how we did in the above one. Go to the directory InstructLab and then source venv virtual environment bin activate. Perfect. So the lab is active. Now let's try to chat with the model. Same thing. How did we serve? The same command, but we'll be using the chat option here. ilab model chat, and -m will be the model against with whom you want to chat. All I want to do is I want to ask certain definitions like how they have in the left side here. It's asking what is OpenShift in 20 words. I want to ask what is ChatGPT in 20 words, and I want to see how the response is different every time. Like the definition on a whole means the same thing, but every time you ask, you will see that the model is smart enough to give different responses. Let us check that out. So it's telling what is ChatGPT in 20 words, telling a highly advanced large language model that uses deep learning to generate human-like text and conversations. So now if I ask the same question again, it should give me a similar definition, but not the exact one. The idea is to see how versatile this model is in terms of responding back to questions. See, if I ask what is ChatGPT, now it tells me a sophisticated language model, which is similar thing from above, but not exact. This is the mixture it gives in terms. See, again, if I ask it, groundbreaking large language model, right? So this way we know that, like, this model is, capable of responding in this fashion for queries. Now, with that said, successful chat, let's jump to the Parasol Insurance Application and see if the AI model is helping us in the chatbot to respond to any of the questions we have with respect to claims. Coming to the Parasol application, let us go into a claim. That would be CLM 19. Let's go into 5501, the first one. All these are auto insurance claims which has one or the other repair challenges. These are the claims which the users have raised. On the bottom side, I do have chatbot integration. So let me click on the bottom chatbot assistant. Perfect. Now let me ask what is the cost of the flux capacitor. To repair the flux capacitor, what is the cost? And let us see what does it give in response. So I'm asking how much does it cost, or what is the cost of flux capacitor repair, right? It's trying to ask it in a different way from what we have in instructions. Repair. And if you notice, the response is so generic. It's not giving me the amount value which I'm looking for, but it is giving me some generic response because this model is not trained to answer such questions. So this is where we have a necessity to teach or train these models. So right now the model is responding with something really unrealistic information which doesn't make any sense to the customer. Let's go back to the model and see how we can train these models. First of all, let's try to exit this chat. Let's go to the bottom window and exit the chat, and then let's try to see how we can train or teach these models. So all we are trying to do here is give this model some question and answers which it can prepare for, and next time if it is given any such questions or questions around those areas, it has already prepared synthetic data to respond back. So all I'm doing is looking at the taxonomy or the directory structure of the taxonomy, and it should match to what we have. Once we see that it's matching, let's create a directory to copy the question and answers which I want to train this on. That would be a YAML file, paste, and then let's create or copy the Q&A YAML file which they already provide you with those question and answers. All you have to do is just copy and paste that in the directory which you created. That's what I'm doing. CP command does that. Copy, that's a copy command. And let's also validate if the data we have copied in the file is present there. Let me do ahead and see if there are. Okay, looks like all those question and answers are in there. You can also do a cat command and look into this question and answer file which you are passing as a training material to this model. All you're doing is giving some training material to this model and telling, hey, why don't you go over this data and synthesize or train yourself, and we'll be passing the command to generate synthetic data in few minutes. Right now all we have done is we have copied that question and answer file into this environment so that the model is able to use it, and we'll be running a certain command like ilab serve or download, like that. Will be to generate data. We'll be running a command which is okay, so we see that the data is present. With the cat command we're able to see that. Let's try to generate the data now. So first let's validate if the taxonomy is valid so that we can use it for generating. I should receive a valid taxonomy message here. Paste. Perfect. Taxonomy is valid is what it tells. With that said, now let's work on generating the synthetic data. All we have to do is run a command so that this model trains itself on that data which we have passed. ilab data generate is the command which I'll be using to generate synthetic data. So this should successfully generate that data and train the model, right? Now let's start serving the model so we can use that in our Parasol application. Copy and same command, ilab model serve is something which we already did. Let me jump out of it and start serving this. Control X. Perfect. So now let me serve this model. Perfect. The model is being served. Let's jump back to the Parasol application and verify if all this training which we have done on this model is making any sense. Parasol application, go back. Let me go back to the claims. Just trying to refresh so I make sure new fresh connection is being established. Claim. Perfect. Same way, let's go back to the model, the chat window, and let me ask now what is the value of this flux capacitor so that I know that if the model training we did is making any difference in terms of experience for the user with artificial intelligence. The same question, how much does it cost for flux capacitor? And you would see the response should be something interesting. Let us see. Perfect. It's taking a second. Let us see what does it come back with. It should ideally give us the amount which is which one has to spend to get this capacitor address. Okay, perfect. So it came back. The flux capacitor, which enables time travel for document DMC, is such and such price. Perfect. So this is the response I wanted, compared to what we saw in the previous example, that it was giving us a vague response in a paragraph, but not this value. We could see now that we successfully trained this artificial intelligent model, and we are seeing the desired response. This way, all the claims which are getting stuck at a repair stage, they can kind of go in and get this data. This is how you can train AI models and get back your desired response. For example, if I ask cost to repair flux capacitor again, the response should be pretty similar. It should be giving me the dollar value rather than giving a paragraph. This was a successful demonstration of that. Thank you.